Well, holding with the cut of almost 240 points for the Nifty around that 16,250 mark. But let's talk about Motown. Some bad news for Motown as reports indicate that the global automakers have shut down plants in Russia. Sonia, the last couple of years it was the semiconductor shortage, and now just as we were about to come out of that, there's another supply chain shock.
Absolutely, and it's not one, not two, but three supply chain issues in the last 3 years. So, you know, it's really been challenging for the auto sector. As you said, most global automakers have shut down their production in Russia because of what's happening in Ukraine. The European automakers like Renault are facing the biggest hit because of a cessation of business in Russia. So Renault, owns AutoVAZ, which is a Russian company that makes all these brands, whether it's Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda, Porsche. Now, Volkswagen has suspended their production of vehicles in Russia and suspended their exports with immediate effect. They say that not only in Russia, even their production in plants like in Germany as well have gotten impacted because of missing parts from Ukraine. Porsche, which is also owned by Volkswagen, has shut down its plant at a factory in Leipzig. Toyota has shut down its plant in St. Petersburg indefinitely. So it's not just to do with the European car makers. Ford has suspended its joint venture with the Russian company Solar's OJSC and has halted all sales in Russia. And Hyundai as well, it's one of the biggest car makers in Russia. It has shut down its plant in St. Petersburg. Not just the OEMs, but even the auto ancillary companies, whether it's Leoni, Japan's Fujikura, Aptiv PLC, Nexans SA, they all have plants and they supply to places both in Russia as well as in Ukraine, and there this has been hit. Now, the other big auto pocket is China, and there as well there have been reports suggesting that China will get hit in a big way. Russia was the third largest export destination for Chinese automobiles in the year gone by. In fact, Great Wall Motors had just about opened a plant in Russia in 2019 and more than doubled its sales in Russia last year. Chery Automobiles, which is a large player in China, also tripled its sales in Russia last year. And now, because of the situation, China, the auto sector will get impacted as well. But back home too, we've seen weakness in February retail sales, where most segments saw a double-digit fall. Adding to the sector's woes is that global automakers are shutting production. Vinkesh Gulati, the president of FADA, joins us now to talk more about that. Vinkesh, it's really pouring bad news for the auto sector, as is the case for most, industries because of what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. But you tell us, from an Indian auto company point of view, is there any impact that this Russia-Ukraine situation will have?
So thanks, Sonia, for having me. Practically, we will surely see the effect because, Russia supplies palladium for semiconductors. No doubt it's not direct supply to India, but it supplies to suppliers who supply the final product, semiconductor, to Indian OEMs. And this will affect the availability of palladium for them. And Ukraine, in turn, is a big hub for some gases which is used in production of semiconductor. So obviously, for the past 1.5 years, we have been discussing semiconductor day in and day out for the major issue of supply chain. And now with this the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, I feel that is again becoming big. So we were very happy when we saw a 3 lakh figure car produced in February, but emotional feelings was short-lived because with this conflict, I'm sure that within a week or so we'll start getting messages that Indian production is again being hampered.
So, just to follow up over there, you said that Russia has this semiconductor issue as well as Ukraine as well supplies some amount of gases. Russia supplies palladium. So, has there been any hit up until now? Because the situation has been on for the last 10-15 days. So, have any OEMs indicated to you that supply has stopped?
Not yet, because obviously, as you are aware, the semiconductor cycle takes around 40 to 45 days. Means from the raw material to the end product, which is delivered to the OEMs. So I'm hopeful that we'll be able to see reasonably fine numbers for March, but going further, we'll surely see the hit. So all the semiconductors which have to reach the factory would be on the way or in the production factories all across Malaysia or other places. But another 15 days down, when the raw material from Russia, which had to reach today or 5 days back, which it doesn't reach, So obviously the effect will come to us in retail actually another 15, 30 days later.
Right, you know what you're saying so far, and from what I've heard from Sonia as well, and a lot of the managements who've joined us, people who supply to auto companies, case in point, something like Kalyani Steel saying that they're looking at revision of input prices higher to all the auto OEMs as well as manufacturers. It means that cars will get a lot more expensive, and at a time when fuel is already at an all-time high, only expected to get more expensive from here post the elections. How much of that could impact demand according to you? What's your estimate of a decline or an impact in sales because of higher cost of ownership?
See, these are two-pronged discussion on this. So when we talk of the fuel prices which will go up, I feel post this election thing going out, and the effect of Russia, I feel that will be more on the two-wheeler segment because that is a segment which is already hit a lot. It's seeing a double-digit degrowth for the past, I feel, more than a year or so. And that is where the fuel prices affect instantaneously in the demand or the customer psyche. On the car segment, I don't see any effect initially happening because we are overall as of now in still in supply chain issue, and the demand is too high. We are seeing still the waiting periods similar as what it was for 2 months back or 3 months back. The demand is high, so even if with the fuel prices or the because of the raw material, if the car prices go up, the retail demand would not be affected in near future. I don't know about 2-3 months down the line when the rainy season starts and the demand normally is down. But for March or April, the car segment won't be hit because of fuel prices or even the raw material prices. But the two-wheeler segment would be the biggest hit, and that is where our major concern is because we are seeing this downfall for long now.
And also the two-wheeler premium segment uses semiconductors, right? So if the shortage increases over there, then there'll be a further hit on that space. I take your point. What about commercial vehicles? The going was good so far, but now once again it's stalled a bit in the month gone by. Has construction activity picked up as much as was expected, or is there some disappointment there as well?
So commercial vehicle is picking up. That's one of the segment beside three-wheeler which we are seeing in green. But obviously, yes, it's not such high an improvement what we have seen, which we were expecting because of the lot of government's infrastructure spend announcement. I feel it will take a bit of time to come back to its pre-COVID years. But yes, year on year, it's a green. But if I talk of pre-COVID, it's still 24% down, which is a big degrowth. And I'm expecting maybe because the elections were on for the past 1.5 months and the importance toward, or you can see the focus is changed. Post 10th March, I'm expecting again the things going back to normal. And once the infrastructure spend goes away, goes in a fast mode, and the payments to the contractors happen, I'm expecting commercial vehicle to see better days in coming months.
I just have one final question. Sorry, I know we've run out of time, but I just want to squeeze this in. A lot of companies like Motherson Sumi supply to these global luxury car makers, where whether it's Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, etc. Now, because of this Russia situation where most of these guys have shut their plants, will there be a direct impact to business for names like Motherson, or since their contracts are already signed, they won't be hit?
Not able to comment on exactly one company, but overall, yes, they will get hit because whatever the contract be signed, such kind of force majeure situation is normally not covered. So obviously, even if they produce, they'll not be able to send their parts to these companies which operate from Russia or Europe, wherever they have shut down. But it would be a stopgap arrangement, maybe a month or two, and it will come back. But it will obviously affect their overall production.
All right. Thank you, Vinkesh, for joining in, giving us all those views as far as the market is concerned. In terms of auto, two-pronged problems, one for two-wheelers, higher fuel prices, and for four-wheelers, non-availability of raw material as well as supply chain disruptions. So Looking at a long summer, perhaps, let's see whether things improve or not. But let's shift focus to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive, where we learn from sources that Axis Bank is all set to acquire Citi's consumer business. Ritu joins in with all the details. Ritu.
That's right, Mangalam. Axis Bank is set to bag Citi's India consumer business, and the deal announcement is likely as early as next week itself. Remember, this has been in the works with many like Kotak Mahindra Bank, IndusInd Bank and others being in the fray. But as we reported earlier, Axis Bank has emerged as a front runner, and the deal size could be pegged at around $2 to $2.5 billion. But remember, it may seem at a premium, but this includes cash components as well as incentives, and it also includes Axis's lucrative customer base of 2.6 million credit card holders, which is what makes the deal quite attractive for Axis Bank. Citi, we understand, will continue to service the customers during the transition period while Axis acquires the business, which may take upwards of 6 months at the very least. Citi declined to comment in the story, but Axis's response is still awaited. Now, why is it that Axis is willing to pay this kind of a premium for Citi's business? Remember, its retail business has about 35 branches in India, 4,000 employees, 2.5 million retail customers and 1.2 million loan accounts. But the attraction really is the credit card business, where Axis itself has 8.1 million credit card customers. Citi has 2.6, but the spends on Citi's credit cards is far higher. In fact, a research by Edelweiss says that Citi's credit card holders on average spend 30% more than the industry average, and that once the acquisition goes through, Axis Bank will see an average credit card spend per user rising by 23%. So an attractive deal for Axis Bank, although coming at a steep price.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ritu, for that. Let's slip into a short break. On the other side of the break, we'll tell you how to trade the market amidst these volatile times. Prakash Gaba will join in with some trading strategies. Stay tuned.